In this video, we're going to talk about crypto coins to watch in 2025. We have some crazy price action in the markets, as you have probably seen, with tariffs and everything going around the world right now, so it's worth taking a look, taking a step back and thinking what may happen really and what coins might do really well. This is my list. Of course, nothing here is financial advice. Crypto is risky. You can lose all your capital, so have that in mind. This is what I'm buying basically. This is some of the things that I'm buying now, or I have bought already, or I'm going to buy soon if the price is going to be a little bit better. So we're going to have a discussion of these things on the list, and then we're going to talk about maybe what I think will happen in general. Now, as you have seen, crypto got massive beating, especially if you look at things like Ethereum, which was basically getting the beating since the last year, right? You can see that we're back at the prices from 2023 and even below that. If touching even at 1,000, below $1,400, which is pretty crazy. I don't know what's happening right now, right? You can see this dip here. It's really, really crazy. Same thing going on, for example, with things like Solana. Also went pretty high from the top. As you can see, 280 was the top here, and then here we are, $100. Even below that, for a brief moment, that was like 95, I think. So that was pretty low. Okay, so where are we right now? If you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin is doing pretty well here. $80,000 down from 110. I think that was the top. If you look at the past couple of months, almost $110,000. But a lot of altcoins actually got totally disintegrated, devastated, especially if you look at AI ecosystem. We're going to talk about those coins, but let me start with virtuals. This is the top AI ecosystem, right? This is the launch part for AI agents on Base, super popular. It's trading at $300 market cap, 46 cents. If you look at what was happening just a couple of months ago, then you see this massive uptrend. It was basically at the top. Basically, it was 10x from now. So the price got down 90%, which is absolutely crazy. On January 2nd, that was the all-time high. And before that, we back at the prices from before actually, before Trump got elected as a president, before we got this additional leg in the bull market. So what I'm looking at when it comes to different crypto is I'm thinking about, first of all, what kind of category they're into and what's a good risk to reward ratio. So we're going to have some kind of a risk. I'm thinking about lowest kind of scenario, what might happen, but also what was the all-time high, how far away we are from that. So this is all super interesting. And for some of those coins, I think that the moment to buy is either now or will be soon. Of course, once you're watching this, some of the prices, especially with current prices, might be different, but probably lowest scenario and all-time high stays the same, unless something extraordinary has happened, like all the tariffs were elevated and we're going to see the massive printing easing into the second quarter of 2025. We don't know what's going to happen. So there are a couple of scenarios. You always have to keep that in mind. Most of the stuff that I'm doing here and I'm thinking about is for longer term. So I did some numbers on the side. This is the topic of a different video, but basically the optimal time to hold after liquidation cascades, and we can talk about liquidation cascades whenever we have like 15% of majors. So for example, if you look at Ethereum, it's still 11% down, even though it's 10% up, but basically it went down like 20% over the last couple of days. You had those massive drops from 1,800 to 1,400. That was massive move. So there's many liquidation cascades, meaning many people on different exchanges that use leverage were totally blown out of the water, because if there's 20% down, then if you have 5x leverage or higher, then you're getting liquidated. And many people are using even higher leverage. So a lot of people were liquidated this way. Now, what I did was analyze some data, and looking at the past, it seems like optimal time for holding Ethereum, Solana, also FTM, which is Sonic right now, was 12 to 18 months post liquidation cascade. So whenever we have a move like that, like before, we basically just have to buy, and from 90 days to basically 12, 18 months, that's the optimal time to hold, you're going to get profitable. Again, This is not financial advice. This is only probability to that. It happened in the past, doesn't mean it will happen in the future, but data looks nice here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm planning on buying, well, I already bought ETH and Sol, so I'm not buying more here. I'm looking to buy Bera and Sonic though. So let's start with the first two things. Ethereum and Solana, two major plays when it comes to altcoins. Of course, if you're a purist, you're going to buy Bitcoin. But I think a risk to reward ratio on Bitcoin is much lower right now, meaning that you're probably going to be profitable, but I don't know how high Bitcoin will go. But maybe it can go with 2x. We're probably looking at something more than that. I want to be, I want to have at least 3x, 4x, 5x, and that's why I think Solana Ethereum has a much bigger chance for that. Especially that right now, especially with Solana and Ethereum, it's pretty low compared to the all-time highs. Of course, those all-time highs might never come back again. Now, from the new ecosystem, there are 3 L1s, one and two Sonic, and 2 L1s, Berachain and Hype for Hyperliquid, that are looking especially nice. Berachain is 50% down. I think even more right now if we were to look at it. It was launched recently, it was a little bit down and now up, but yeah, still lower than what I put here a couple of days ago. I was 4.4. Right now it's at 3.8. This is one of the newer ecosystems and people really like it for many different DeFi protocols that are available on Berachain, and because of the new proof of liquidity mechanism that basically gives you easily yield while you're farming with stables or with Bera, the utility token behind Berachain. I really like it myself. I'm doing a little bit of yield farming on Berachain. Really recommend it if you have stables, or if you have Bera to do it, especially on infrared finance. That's really going great. And as you can see, Berachain is actually doing pretty well. Well, except for the last couple of days, but even though in this deepest of the bear markets, we're seeing that it was at around $8. It was launched, just a couple of weeks ago in February, launching of course pretty high, but then being pretty consistent from 5 to 8. We're going to see what happens now. I would say that this looks pretty nice right now with this pricing. Same goes for Sonic. Sonic stands for this Phantom, what was Phantom once, and now it's the entirely new ecosystem, a little bit up from what I put here. But then again, if you look at what Phantom did at the highs, that was like $3. Right now it's basically 87% down, 80% down, so it's massive discount. Of course, we have so many new L2s right now. There's much more competition. Solana is really high, so don't know how will that influence Sonic. But again, nice thing about Sonic is that first of all, even if you look at the couple of the last months, you get the price of Sonic being at around $1 and above. And second of all, it's also very popular with DeFi protocols, yield farmers. Andrew Kronje, who's behind Sonic, understands very well DeFi and how it works and how to give people incentives. So there's going to be an airdrop also for Sonic. So if you want to farm some points, go to Sonic and try to use some of the protocols to farm to get yield on that and get additional points. That's why I think I'm bullish on Sonic. Hype, again, Hyperliquid is of course people's favorite decentralized exchange right now, one of the most popular, my favorite as well. I'm using it right now for on-chain trading when it comes to getting positions. Really cool stuff. It's a little bit higher on the end, right? Because the market cap is $4.5 billion, fully diluted is $13 billion. But just a couple of months ago, if you look at it, it went to $32 and people were still asking and screaming for $50, $100, which is possible. I mean, in the end, the best comparison with Hyperliquid is probably BNB, Binance Smart Chain token, which went much higher. And if it were to do that, then basically it's 10x from here for Hyperliquid. Of course, we don't know whether it goes that high because there's like many risks along the way, but I think that healthy 2x is it's definitely possible if we get back to the better conditions. Now, for the newer tokens that I'm still not buying, or maybe I have a little bit, but it really depends. There are two infrastructure projects, Redstone and Cookie. Redstone is basically the Oracle, so it's like Chainlink but much smaller. I think that especially the price action after they launched just recently, but they of course they are operational for a couple of years right now, but the token is out only recently. They launched in pretty bad conditions, right? So they went up to like 80 cents pre-market. That was like $1 something. I mean, I lost a little bit betting on pre-market, and then basically all down from here. It can go even lower, of course, and I'm not betting yet. I have what I have. I have a small stack right now, and probably will add if they go down. Generally speaking, they're really professional about what they're doing, really great Oracle, so I believe in the technology, but of course you have to remember that technology is not necessarily an indicator of how the price will behave. So this is one thing. Another one is, you probably know it if you are in AI and trying to do anything, because they Cookie DAO, they have a bunch of tools, especially they have cookie.fun, which gives you different kind of dashboards for operating and understanding how AI agents are operating. Right now, it's much lower, right? You can see that before they did cookie.fun, which was around, I think, November, and they started getting traction around here, they were super low, right? Like the market cap was around $2 million, and then they exploded to $200 million. So that was 100x basically in the span of like a 2 months period, right? It was pretty crazy. They back to the lows. I think they're like a $36 million market cap. Definitely can go lower, right? This FDV is a little bit higher than that. They probably still have some tokens hanging around. AI narrative hasn't come back yet fully. So I think there's like a couple of things here to happen, but there's definitely something that's worth looking at. So yeah, Cookie is also on my list. Fartcoin, of course. Fartcoin, since I put that on the list, it went actually 20% up. And right now even more, I think 70 cents. It was like 50 cents just a couple of days ago, so that's pretty cool. And of course, Fartcoin is, I think, the PEPE of this narrative, meaning that this will be the major coin that's coming back, the major meme coin that's coming back and back. People are really thinking about that coin. The same with PEPE. But I also put PEPE here because I think PEPE is also becoming back. This is the main meme coin on Ethereum, and when people think about beta to Ethereum play, they're going to think about PEPE. And PEPE right now is at around $2.5 billion market cap, which is 76% from the all-time highs of $11 billion. Really interesting to look at. So if you look at the price action of PEPE, that's a pretty interesting one as well. But of course, this might happen, like if you look at what happened here, December 9th of the all-time high, $11 billion, and then it's down from there. Really interesting coin. It might go lower definitely, so I'm waiting on this one. On Fartcoin, I started buying a little bit, but basically also waiting. And now we're going back. Maybe I will skip Doge for now and go maybe skip Aave for now and go to Doge. Doge is basically a token, another OG meme, which is terribly down 80% from all-time high. This all-time high actually was not reached this cycle. That was the all-time high from 2021. So you have to remember that. If you look at that, basically, then you see that the all-time high was this one day when Elon was, I think, mentioning that on a show or before that. And since then, it was doing okay, but nothing extraordinary. And I think we're back to the lows here. So it can still go lower, I think, to 0.1, but this is definitely an accumulation period, especially if you want to start buying that on spot. Now, going back to DeFi, Aave is, of course, a juggernaut here, the OG DeFi protocol. This is what I'm looking at. It's 75% down from all-time high, but that was the time all-time high was in 2021, where of course, everything was happening on Ethereum. That's not the case anymore, but still, since the all-time high in 2024, like basically for $100, they're down like 75% from that, which also means something, and it's worth having a look at. So I just wanted to mention that. Virtual, we already have been talking about that, 90% down, worth having a look at. And finally, I want to mention Sui. Sui is a competitor to Solana, same as Aptos. I haven't added Aptos to the list, but that's also interesting. Sui is definitely worth checking out. This might be competitor to Solana. This might be in the moment where Solana was in 2021. However, you have to remember that this, again, FDV is pretty high, so you have to look at the unlocks of tokens that are coming to the market and will be sold on the market. This is one thing. This can definitely go lower. I think this can go as low as what was happening in September of 2024. So basically $1, 50% down from here. But on the other side, there's a huge upside of I think 2x, 3x. So I think this is like a balanced position right now. That's why I'm waiting, because if you have 50% drawdown, 2x potential reward, then this is basically the expected valuation is that, and you want to have trades that have 50% drawdown and like 3x, 4x, 5x, so that's much higher, and you can win much bigger relative to the risk. This is how I look at the trades, and this is not it yet, but this is definitely looking interesting, and especially with the ecosystem growing, that's going to be really cool. I also wanted to mention Aptos here to check that out, and you're going to see what's happening here. Again, FDV is much smaller, but market cap is also much smaller. This might be interesting because there will be less unlocks. This is a little bit older coin than Sui, but very comparable because actually they're using the same programming language called Move in the background, so they're a little bit different than Solidity or what Solana is doing with Rust. Worth checking out. Definitely, and this is another one on my list. All-time highs were, as you can see, somewhere around $18, and right now we have basically 70% down from that period. So again, I think it can go a little bit lower, but generally speaking, that was right now, this is the lows of the lows. The lowest it went, it was like $3 basically, but if you look at the market cap, then maybe this is more indicative, right? Because sometimes price is lying here, but yeah, we can definitely go 50% down from here, looking at the market cap, but definitely Aptos is another coin looking. And then finally, I wanted to give you a smaller coins that I'm looking at. One is memecoin. Lock-in, one of my favorites. This is basically down from a $100 million market cap to $5 million market cap right now. Super small one, but with people that are still talking about that on Twitter every day. I wanted to mention that this is worth checking out. Soil, small RWA protocol. We didn't have really RWA, so real world assets, bull mania here, but I think that might be coming. They're, I think, like 80% down from the all-time high. Worth checking out for what they're doing. And finally, we have Vader, which is one of the top agents on Virtual's ecosystem, with all-time high of over $150 million and currently sitting at $5 million market cap. So that I already bought that one. That one actually Soil also as well a small position because these are such a small market caps. Then actually, well, they can always go down, but risk to reward ratio is much more interesting. Again, these are longer term holds, so I'm not going to sell them, like next week or like if they go like 20% up. I'm looking to hold them until like 2026, maybe 2027, 12 to 18 months. That's probably the holding time here. I wanted to mention that because probably will be coming back to some of those coins in other videos. I think those are worth checking out. You can check my videos on Berachain ecosystem, how to get yield. I also have a video on Sonic. I have a couple of videos on Hype ecosystem, a video about Redstone and how to use it. I think when you look at my AI agents video, I was talking about Cookie. So of course, this is super interesting. Thank you for watching, subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next video.